In August 2024, a federal judge ruled that a company with 90% market share was an illegal monopoly. That same month, that company's stock rose 2%. In 1911, a company with 64% market share was declared an illegal monopoly and ordered to break up. That company's founder became the richest man in the world as a result. The paradox isn't new, neither is the playbook. This is the Gilded Archives, where history's ledgers reveal tomorrow's patterns. By 2024, Google had perfected something Standard Oil pioneered in 1870, making monopoly look like innovation. I'll show you the exact mechanism. The origin point. In 1870, Cleveland faced chaos. Oil refineries operated at 4% efficiency. Prices swung wildly. $4 per barrel one month, 26 cents the next. Waste products piled in mountains outside refineries. Most companies dumped gasoline in rivers. This was before automobiles existed. Gasoline was refuse. John D. Rockefeller saw geometry where others saw disorder. Standard Oil didn't just refine oil more efficiently. Rockefeller built the first vertically integrated industrial empire. He controlled production, refining, transportation, and distribution. When competitors used railroads, Rockefeller negotiated secret rebates, not just on his own shipments, but on competitor shipments too. Every barrel his rivals moved paid Standard Oil. By 1878, 8 years, Standard Oil controlled 95% of oil refining in the United States. The innovation wasn't technology, it was structural monopolization disguised as efficiency. Why it matters? This wasn't just oil consolidation, it was the blueprint for corporate dominance that would repeat for 154 years. The mechanism? Control the distribution layer, not the product, the access to customers. Rockefeller didn't need to own every oil well. He owned the railroads, the pipelines, the access. Make yourself the unavoidable middleman, then extract from both sides. Standard Oil's market share had actually declined to 64% by 1911 when the Supreme Court ordered the breakup. But here's the dark elegance. The court split Standard into 34 companies based on geography. Rockefeller owned stock in all of them. His wealth tripled to $900 million, $28 billion in today's dollars, the moment the gavel fell. The breakup was designed to restore competition. Instead, it perfected the original monopoly by making it look like 34 competitors. ExxonMobil, Chevron, BP, Marathon, Shell partnerships. You're not choosing brands at the gas station. You're choosing which branch of Rockefeller's tree to feed. The empire fell. The mechanism survived. And here's why that matters to you right now. In 2024, that exact playbook, control distribution, extract from both sides, survive breakup through structural design, generated $307 billion in revenue for a company that started by organizing web links, 1870. Rockefeller faced a problem. Hundreds of competing oil refiners, chaotic pricing, no control. The innovation, don't compete on product. Control the distribution layer. Standard Oil negotiated exclusive contracts with railroads, the only way to move oil economically. Competitors had 3 choices: sell to Standard Oil at pennies on the dollar, pay absurd shipping rates and go bankrupt, or ship nothing and go bankrupt faster. What was new? Vertical integration wasn't illegal. Secret rebates weren't technically forbidden. Making yourself the unavoidable gatekeeper looked like superior business acumen. By the time regulators understood the mechanism, Rockefeller controlled 95% of the market. Key number, $900 million. That's what Rockefeller made when his monopoly was broken up in 1911. Modern manifestation. Every time you search for a restaurant, Google extracts twice. Once from you, your attention, your data, your click. Once from the restaurant, their advertising payment for access to you. You can't reach businesses without Google. Businesses can't reach customers without Google. That's the Rockefeller position. Rockefeller made monopoly look like efficiency. Larry Page and Sergey Brin would make it look like innovation. AT&T faced a different problem in 1913. How to monopolize communication without triggering Standard Oil's fate. The innovation. Reframe monopoly as natural monopoly. Argue that competition is inefficient. One network is better than fragmented networks. The public good requires centralized control. AT&T's Kingsbury commitment in 1913 promised to connect with independent phone companies while maintaining control of long-distance lines. The structure? Competitors could exist locally, but all long-distance traffic flowed through AT&T infrastructure. By 1984, AT&T was a $150 billion monopoly, controlling 90% of U.S. telecommunications. What was new? Turn regulatory scrutiny into protective moat. Get the government to agree that you're a natural monopoly, too essential to break up, too complex to replicate. The 1984 breakup split AT&T into 7 Baby Bells and AT&T long distance. Within 20 years, SBC Communications, one Baby Bell, bought AT&T and took its name. Verizon absorbed another 4 Baby Bells. The tree remerged. Modern manifestation. Google's defense in 2024 court filings. We offer the best search engine. Users choose us because we're superior. The natural monopoly argument. Breaking us up would harm consumers. One index of the web is more efficient than multiple fragmented indexes. AT&T lasted 71 years before breakup. Google learned the language. Don't call it monopoly. Call it network effects. Call it scale advantages. Call it consumer choice. By 1998, Microsoft faced the same scrutiny. Windows operate on 95% of personal computers. The innovation: don't force consumers to use your product. Just make it the default. The antitrust case focused on Microsoft bundling Internet Explorer with Windows, making it the default browser. Most users never change the default. Microsoft's legal argument: users could install Netscape. They could install Opera. Windows didn't block competitors. It just made Internet Explorer convenient. The court disagreed. In 2001, Microsoft faced forced breakup, but the Bush administration settled for behavioral remedies instead. No breakup, just restrictions on bundling practices. By 2024, Microsoft had a $3 trillion market cap. Key insight: default position is monopoly power. Choice screens sound like freedom, but 94% of users stick with the default. Modern manifestation. Google pays Apple $20 billion per year to be the default search engine on Safari. Not the only option. Users can choose Bing, DuckDuckGo, Yahoo. But in December 2024, Google held 89.7% global search market share. Default equals dominance. Microsoft taught Google the final lesson: paying for default position looks like competition. It's actually exclusion by expense. Bing can't outbid Google. DuckDuckGo can't match $20 billion. The distribution layer is purchased, not competed for. 3 architects. Same mechanism, control distribution, make competition look possible while making it economically impossible. By 2024, Google had synthesized all 3 lessons into one corporate structure. Now here's where it gets personal. In August 2024, Judge Amit Mehta ruled, Google is a monopolist, and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly. Google's market share at the time of ruling, 89.2% overall, 94.9% on mobile devices. Standard Oil's market share when it was broken up in 1911, 64%. The difference: in 1911, the court ordered immediate dissolution. In 2024, the court ordered Google to stop exclusive distribution contracts and share some search data with competitors. No forced sale of Chrome, no breakup of Android, no structural remedy. The appeals process will take until 2027, possibly 2028. By then, the AI revolution will have rewritten search entirely. The case will address a monopoly that technically no longer exists in its original form. Alphabet's stock price rose 2% the week of the ruling, the inescapability proof. You need driving directions. Google Maps uses search data to predict traffic, suggest routes, sell advertising to businesses along your path. That's Rockefeller's double extraction. You need a phone. Android controls 71% of global mobile operating systems. Google Search is the default. That's the Microsoft doctrine. You own an iPhone. Apple received $20 billion in 2022, possibly $22 billion in 2024, to make Google the default on Safari. Apple's services revenue was $96 billion in 2024. That single contract represents 20 to 23% of the entire services division. That's the AT&T natural monopoly position. Apple can't afford to compete with Google because Apple's business model depends on Google's payments. You search for a product. Google's shopping results now show products directly in search. You never visit the retailer's website. Google takes 15 to 30% of the transaction value through Google Shopping. That's vertical integration perfected. The search engine, the advertising platform, and the marketplace are the same entity. Every interaction feeds the monopoly. The mechanism is invisible because it's everywhere. The current position. Where are we in the pattern? Standard Oil, sued in 1906. Broken up in 1911. 5 years. Litigation to dissolution. AT&T, sued in 1974, broken up in 1984, 10 years. Microsoft, sued in 1998, settled in 2001, no breakup. Google, sued in 2020, ruled monopoly in 2024, remedies imposed 2025, appeals until 2027 to 2028, no breakup. The pattern says monopolies endure longer with each iteration. Structural remedies weaken, behavioral restrictions replace dissolution. By the time courts rule, technology has moved. Google's already building AI search through Gemini. When the legal battle over traditional search concludes, Google will argue the relevant market is now AI-powered search, a new industry where it's merely an innovative competitor, not a monopoly. The defense is already written. The archives show the script. There are 3 paths forward. Path 1, accept and use it. Use Google. Accept the extraction. You get speed, accuracy, 20 years of indexed web data. They get your search history, your location data, your advertising profile, and 30% of any transaction you complete through their platform. The bargain, convenience for surveillance. Most users take it. That's not surrender. That's cost-benefit analysis. Path 2, resist it. Switch to alternatives. DuckDuckGo for privacy, Kagi for paid, ad-free search, Brave search for decentralization. Reality check. DuckDuckGo has 0.5% market share. Kagi requires $10 per month subscription. You lose Google Maps integration, YouTube suggestions, Gmail search-powered filters. More expensive, less convenient, more autonomous. That's the trade. Path 3, position within it. Understand the mechanism. Recognize when you're the product versus the customer. Use ad blockers. Disable location tracking where possible. Separate search from email from cloud storage. Don't give one company the full data set. Not advice, pattern recognition. The deeper truth, antitrust used to mean breakup. Now it means consent decree. The archives show monopolies aren't ended, they're managed. Google will remain dominant because the alternatives would be worse for the ecosystem built around it. Apple's services division needs that $20 billion. Android developers need the Play Store. Small businesses need Google Ads to reach customers. Dismantling Google's monopoly would harm the entities that depend on it. Standard Oil was broken up because America had oil reserves and alternative refiners waiting. Google has no equivalent substitute. Breaking it up would fragment the internet itself. History shows when systems collapse, production survives. Paper promises fail. The ability to create value does not. In 1911, oil refiners with actual facilities survived Standard Oil's breakup. Rockefeller survived by owning equity in the infrastructure. In 2024, web developers who can build platforms survive Google's dominance. SEO specialists who understand the algorithm survive. Companies with email lists and direct customer relationships survive. The pattern. Intermediary dependence is risk. Direct value creation is resilience. If you're a business, own your customer data. Don't rent access through Google Ads indefinitely. If you're a developer, build interoperable tools. If you're a consumer, keep your data portable. The monopoly isn't permanent. The capability to create value outside the monopoly is. How does a company with 90% market share get ruled an illegal monopoly and see its stock rise? Because the market understands what the courts don't. Modern monopolies aren't broken up. They're lightly restructured. Google will pay fines, share some data with competitors, stop exclusive contracts with Apple, but can still pay for default position under non-exclusive terms. The mechanism survives. Standard Oil became ExxonMobil and Chevron. AT&T became AT&T and Verizon. Microsoft became a $3 trillion company. Rockefeller's wealth tripled. Bill Gates retired as the world's richest man. Google's founders step back as multi-billionaires while Alphabet continues extracting. The pattern's verdict. Standard Oil, 95% market share. Breakup, reconsolidation within 50 years. AT&T, 90% market share. Breakup, reconsolidation within 30 years. Microsoft, 95% market share. Settlement, $3 trillion market cap by 2024. Google, 90% market share. Consent decree, appeals until 2028. Same pattern. Each cycle, the monopoly survives longer. Structural remedies weaken. New technology provides the defense. This time is different. The verdict, Google won't be broken up. Neither was Microsoft. The age of trust busting ended with AT&T in 1984. What remains is antitrust theater, lawsuits that produce reforms, not dissolution. The mechanisms Rockefeller built in 1870, control distribution, extract from both sides, own the infrastructure, generated $307 billion for Google in 2024. The monopoly isn't a bug. It's the system operating exactly as designed. Standard Oil, AT&T, Microsoft, Google. 4 iterations of the same pattern. Each one learned from the last. Each one endured longer. The archives say we're not breaking up monopolies anymore. We're negotiating with them. Subscribe to the Gilded Archives. When the next tech giant faces antitrust action, you'll recognize the script. Because the playbook is 154 years old. History doesn't repeat, it compounds.